The great hall fell silent as the holographic display showed another world dying. Ambassador Jiwan watched the images with her hands clenched tight. Red dots spread across the star map like blood in water. Each dot was a colony world. Each dot meant billions of lives consumed by the Kryloth swarm. High Chancellor Vexmore stood at the center of the chamber. His tall frame cast shadows across the assembly floor. The Thalan leader had ruled the Galactic Coalition for 30 years. His silver skin reflected the dying light of the holographic worlds. "The situation grows worse each day," Vexmore announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "The Kryloth have taken 14 worlds in 3 months. Our fleets cannot stop them. Our weapons barely slow them down." Jiwan leaned forward in her seat. Earth had joined the Galactic Coalition only 6 months ago. She was still learning the politics of this ancient organization, but she understood death, she understood war, and she understood that these alien leaders were afraid. "We must act now," called out Ambassador Felkan of the Vorqui. His 4 arms gestured wildly. "Send everything we have, every ship, every soldier, and leave our homeworlds defenseless," countered Speaker Threx. "The Kryloth could attack anywhere. We must protect what remains." The chamber erupted in argument. Thousands of voices speaking hundreds of languages created a wall of noise. Jiwan touched the translator device in her ear. It struggled to keep up with the chaos. Commander Dain of the Thalan military stepped forward. He was younger than most commanders, his silver skin still bright. "High Chancellor, if I may speak." Vexmore nodded. "Our conventional forces are failing," Dain said carefully. "The Kryloth ships are biological. They heal damage. They adapt to our energy weapons. We need new strategies, new approaches." He paused and looked directly at Jiwan. "Perhaps the humans could offer fresh perspectives." The chamber fell silent again. All eyes turned to the human section. Jiwan felt the weight of 10,000 stares. "Absolutely not," Vexmore said sharply. "The humans are too new, too inexperienced. This conflict requires proven tactics and tested warriors." "With respect, High Chancellor," Jiwan stood. "Earth has experience with biological threats. We've dealt with pandemics, invasive species, and—" "This is not a disease, Ambassador," Vexmore interrupted. "This is war on a scale your species cannot comprehend. You have been in space for barely 50 years. The youngest species in this chamber has been spacefaring for 3,000 years. Then let us prove ourselves," Jiwan pressed. "Give us a chance to help." "Help?" Speaker Threx laughed. It was not a kind sound. "Your species still fights wars among yourselves. You have nuclear weapons pointed at your own cities. You destroy your own planet for profit. And you think you can help us?" Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Jiwan felt her face grow hot. Everything Threx said was true. Earth was messy, violent, complicated, but they were also survivors. "Those same qualities make us adaptable," Jiwan argued. "We think differently. We solve problems in ways you might not consider." "Precisely why we cannot trust you in this fight," Vexmore said firmly. "Your methods are too unpredictable, too dangerous. You might make the situation worse." In the upper gallery, Dr. Hyunwoo watched the debate unfold. He was a xenobiologist, not a diplomat. He studied alien life forms at the Galactic Institute, but he had seen the classified reports. He had analyzed tissue samples from Kryloth drones. He knew something the Council did not want to admit. The Kryloth were winning because they were being underestimated. The Coalition treated them like a military problem, but they were an ecological problem, a biological invasion, and Earth had experience with those. "I call for a vote," Vexmore declared. "Should Earth be allowed to participate in military operations against the Kryloth swarm?" The voting began. Lights on the great board showed red or green. Red for no, green for yes. Jiwon watched the board fill with red lights. Her heart sank. 847 against, the vote counter announced. 3 in favor. Earth is hereby barred from involvement in military operations against the Kryloth threat. This is for their protection and ours. Jiwon stood again. High Chancellor, this is a mistake. We can help. We want to help. The vote is final, Ambassador, Vexmore said coldly. Earth will receive no military intelligence regarding the Kryloth. Your fleets will remain in your home system. Any violation of this decree will result in expulsion from the coalition and possible military sanctions. You're making a mistake, Jiwon said quietly. We are protecting you, Vexmore replied. When this is over, you will understand. Now please leave the chamber. This session is for military members only. Jiwon gathered her papers and walked toward the exit. The other human delegates followed her. She could feel the eyes on her back. Pity from some, contempt from others, relief from many. As they left, she heard Vexmore begin discussing defensive strategies. Pull back to core worlds, establish fortified lines, wait for the Kryloth to overextend. All conservative tactics, all proven to fail already. In the corridor outside, the human delegation gathered. There were only 12 of them. Earth's entire presence at the Galactic Assembly. What do we do now? Asked military attaché Kangmin. He was a former general, forced into retirement when Earth joined the coalition. Do we just watch them die? No, Jiwon said firmly. We go back to Earth. We tell them what's happening, and we prepare. Prepare for what? Asked Science Officer Nari. They banned us from helping. They banned us from asking to help, Jiwon corrected. They said nothing about showing up anyway. Kangmin smiled slowly. That's insubordination. Maybe treason. That's humanity, Jiwon replied. High above in the gallery, Dr. Hyunwoo made his decision. He accessed his personal datapad and began copying files. Classified reports, battle analysis, Kryloth biology studies, everything he could find. The security systems would detect it eventually. But by then, the data would be on its way to Earth. If the Council would not ask for help, then he would make sure Earth knew help was needed. He was a scientist. His job was to seek truth, and the truth was simple. The Galactic Coalition was losing. Earth could make a difference, and sometimes the right thing to do was the thing you were told not to do. He finished the download and sent the encrypted files through a civilian communication channel. Academic papers with data hidden inside. It would take weeks to reach Earth. But it would get there. In the Great Hall, Vexmore continued outlining defensive positions. Commander Dane listened, but his mind was elsewhere. He had fought the Kryloth on 3 different worlds. He had watched their swarm tear through Thalan ships like they were made of paper. The humans were young, reckless, unpredictable, but maybe that was exactly what this fight needed. Maybe the old ways were not enough. He made a mental note to keep his personal comm channel open, just in case the humans decided to do something foolish and brave. The vote was final. Earth was forbidden from helping. But Commander Dane had spent enough time studying human history to know one thing. Humans were very bad at following rules they thought were wrong. 3 weeks after the vote, Dr. Hyunwoo's encrypted files reached Earth. They arrived disguised as academic research about alien plant biology, but hidden in the data were battle reports, star maps, and detailed analysis of the Kryloth threat. Admiral Minho sat in his office deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Earth's combined fleet headquarters was built into an underwater mountain. It was hidden from orbital sensors, a habit from Earth's more paranoid days. He read the files on his screen 3 times. Each time, his expression grew darker. They're dying, he said aloud. The coalition is being slaughtered, and they won't even tell us. Captain Salmon stood by the window. Through the thick glass, Sharks swam past in the deep blue water. "The ban is clear, Admiral. We're not allowed to help. We're not even supposed to know about it." "I know what the ban says," Minho replied. "I'm asking what we're going to do about it." Solman turned from the window. She was young for a captain, only 32, but she had led special operations missions on Mars during the water riots. She understood difficult choices. "We prepare," she said simply. "We mobilize, and we go help them anyway." Minho smiled. "That could start a war with the Coalition. They might see it as an invasion. Then we'd better make sure we're saving them before they realize we're there," Somin replied. 2 hours later, President Tae Yang arrived at the underwater base. He came alone, without his usual security detail. This meeting needed to stay secret. "How bad is it?" Tae Yang asked as soon as the secure room door closed. Minho projected the star map into the air. Red zones showed Kryloth-controlled space. 14 worlds gone, 3 billion lives consumed. The Coalition's defensive lines are collapsing. At this rate, they have maybe 6 months before the Kryloth reach the core worlds. "And they banned us from helping," Taeyang said. It was not a question. "Yes, sir. They think we're too dangerous, too unpredictable." Taeyang studied the map in silence. He was an old man. He had been a soldier before becoming a politician. He understood what these red zones meant. "What do you recommend, Admiral?" "We mobilize the fleet. We deploy within 2 weeks. We get into position before the next major Kryloth offensive." "That violates the ban," Taeyang said. "Yes, sir. It could get us expelled from the Coalition." "Yes, sir. We could lose trade agreements, technology sharing, everything we've gained in the last 6 months." "Yes, sir." Minho paused. "But if we do nothing, billions will die, and the Coalition will fall. Then Earth will face the Kryloth alone anyway." Taeyang looked at the map again, at the red zones spreading like cancer, at the green zones shrinking every day. "Do it," he said finally, but quietly. "Make it look like training exercises. Make it look like routine patrols. Don't let the Coalition know until we're already in position. And when they find out, then I'll handle the politics," Taeyang said. "You just handle the fighting." The mobilization began that night. Admiral Minho sent coded orders to every human ship in space. Military vessels began gathering near the edge of human territory. They transmitted fake schedules showing training exercises near Jupiter's moons. Meanwhile, Captain Somin assembled her team. 20 soldiers, the best Earth had. Their mission was reconnaissance. Get into Kryloth space. Study the enemy. Find weaknesses. "This is illegal," Lieutenant Borum said as they prepared their ship. "We're violating about 50 different Coalition laws." "We're violating about 60 laws," Somin corrected. "But who's counting?" Engineer Ji-hai worked in her laboratory on Luna Station. She studied the Kryloth samples Dr. Hyun-woo had smuggled out. The tissue was dead, but still fascinating. The cell structure was unlike anything on Earth. "They're biological ships," she muttered to herself. "Living creatures bred for war. They heal damage, adapt to weapons. How do you fight something that evolves during battle?" She ran analysis after analysis. The Kryloth cells responded to energy weapons by hardening. They developed resistance. But there was something else. Something in the genetic structure. "They're all connected," Ji-hai realized. "One mind controlling millions of bodies. Break the connection and maybe—" She started sketching designs. Not for energy weapons. The Coalition already tried those. She needed something different. Something the Kryloth had never encountered. Something human. Captain Somin's ship slipped through Coalition space using stolen transponder codes. They pretended to be a Vorqui trading vessel. The codes were 3 months old. They should have been changed by now. But the Coalition bureaucracy moved slowly. "We're approaching the conflict zone," reported Pilot Gyeong, "picking up debris fields." Lots of them. Through the view screen, they saw the aftermath of battle. Broken ships drifted in the darkness. Some were coalition vessels, some were Kryloth bioships. All were dead. "Take us closer," Soman ordered. "I want samples." They spent 2 days collecting fragments of Kryloth ships. Dead tissue, damaged organs, broken weapons. Everything went into storage containers. On the 3rd day, they witnessed a battle. A coalition patrol group encountered a Kryloth hunter pack. 15 coalition ships against 7 Kryloth vessels. The humans watched from a distance, hidden behind an asteroid. The coalition ships fired energy beams, bright lances of light that should have cut through anything. The Kryloth ships absorbed the damage. Their hulls hardened, adapted, healed. "They're losing," Gyeong whispered. She was right. One by one, the coalition ships fell. The Kryloth closed in like wolves, living ships with teeth and claws made of bone and metal. They tore the coalition vessels apart. "We should help," Borum said. "We can't," Somin replied. Her voice was tight. "Not yet. We'd give away our presence. We need to get this data back to Earth." They watched 14 ships die. Only one coalition vessel escaped. It limped away on damaged engines, trailing atmosphere. "Log everything," Soman ordered. "I want full analysis, how they move, how they attack, how they kill." The data was grim. The Kryloth were faster than coalition ships, stronger, more adaptable. Every weapon the coalition used was eventually countered. Energy weapons stopped working. Missiles were caught and consumed. Even ramming attacks failed as the Kryloth ships were too flexible. "They're fighting biology with technology," Somin realized. "It's the wrong approach." "What's the right approach?" asked Borum. "I don't know yet, but we'll figure it out." Back on Earth, the fleet continued gathering. Admiral Minho watched the numbers grow. 100 ships, then 120. Every vessel Earth could spare, every ship that could fight. "How long until we're ready?" he asked his operations officer. 5 days, sir. But the coalition will notice the mobilization soon. Our trading partners are already asking questions. "Let them ask," Minho said. "By the time they get answers, we'll be gone." Dr. Hyun-woo watched news from Vast Prime. The Galactic Assembly was debating again. More defensive strategies, more conservative plans. Nothing was working. He sent another encrypted file to Earth. This one contained information about Velthara Prime, a Thalan home world with 8 billion people. Intelligence suggested it would be the Kryloth's next target. "Please hurry," he typed in the message. "They're running out of time." Captain Soman's ship returned to human space after 2 weeks of reconnaissance. They brought data and samples, everything Earth needed to understand the enemy. Engineer Jihai studied the new samples immediately. She worked without sleep for 3 days. Coffee and determination kept her going. "I've got it," she finally announced. "I know how to hurt them." Admiral Minho reviewed her proposal. It was radical, dangerous. Nothing like coalition tactics. "Will it work?" he asked. "Maybe," Jihai admitted. "But energy weapons definitely don't work. So we might as well try something different." "How long to produce these weapons?" "They're already in production, sir. I started building prototypes a week ago. Figured you'd approve it eventually." Minho laughed. "That's initiative, or insubordination. I haven't decided which." "On Earth, we call it both," Jihai replied. The fleet prepared to depart. 122 warships, 40,000 fighters, 300 support vessels, the largest military force Earth had ever assembled. Admiral Minho stood on the bridge of his flagship. The crew worked efficiently around him. They knew what was coming. They knew the risks. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his operations officer announced. "Then let's go save the galaxy," Minho said, "whether they want us to or not." The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. They left Earth behind. They left the safety of human space. They headed toward war, toward death, toward billions of lives that needed saving. The Coalition had forbidden Earth from helping, but Earth was already on its way. Commander Dane stood on the command deck of the Orbital Defense Station. Below him, Velthara Prime rotated slowly, his home world. 8 billion Thalan lived on that beautiful planet. Cities of silver and glass covered the continents. Oceans reflected the light of their sun. Movement detected at the edge of the system, reported Sensor Officer Krell. Multiple contacts, very large. Dane felt his blood turn cold. How many? Counting now, sir. 20, 30, 50. Krell's voice rose with each number. Sir, there are over 200 Kryloth vessels entering the system. Sound the alarm. All ships to battle stations. Begin civilian evacuation immediately. Sirens wailed across the orbital stations. On the planet below, emergency broadcasts interrupted every channel. People looked up at the sky with fear. They had heard what happened to other worlds. Now it was their turn. Fleetmaster Colvin commanded the Thalan Defense Force, 60 ships against 200. The mathematics were simple, brutal, deadly. We hold them as long as we can, Colvin ordered. Every minute we buy is another 1,000 civilians evacuated. Every second counts. The Thalan fleet moved to intercept. Dain watched from the station. He wanted to be on a ship, fighting, but his duty was coordinating the defense, making sure the evacuation proceeded smoothly. On the planet's surface, Yurin ran through crowded streets. She was a human journalist who had stayed on Velthara Prime despite warnings. She wanted to document the Kryloth threat, show Earth what was really happening. Now she was trapped with everyone else. Her camera recorded everything: the panic, the fear, parents carrying children, old people helped by neighbors, everyone trying to reach the evacuation ships. This is Yurin reporting from Velthara Prime, she said into her camera. The Kryloth have arrived. There are too many of them. The evacuation cannot save everyone. If Earth is watching this, please. We need help. In space, the first battle began. Thalan ships fired energy beams at the approaching Kryloth swarm. The weapons hit their targets, burned through bio-armor, killed dozens of smaller vessels, but the Kryloth kept coming, and their ships began adapting. The bio-armor hardened, reflected the energy beams, healed the damage. Switch to kinetic projectiles, Colvin ordered. Railguns and missiles. The Thalan ships complied. Metal slugs and explosive missiles struck the Kryloth vessels. This worked better. The bioships could not adapt as quickly to physical damage, but there were too many of them. For every Kryloth ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. The swarm surrounded the Thalan fleet. Living ships with tooth and claw tore into metal hulls. We've lost the brightness, reported the communications officer. The Eternal Dawn is venting atmosphere. The Pride of Velthara is not responding. Dane watched ships die. Each one carried 300 crew, friends, colleagues, people he had served with for decades, all dying to buy time for the evacuation. How many civilians have we evacuated? He asked. 2 million, reported the evacuation coordinator. 6 billion remain. 2 million saved. 6 billion still on the planet. And the defense fleet was collapsing. The Kryloth broke through the defensive line. 50 bioships headed directly for Velthara Prime. Dane activated the planetary shields. Energy barriers flickered into existence around population centers. Shields at maximum power, he ordered. Route all available energy from the orbital stations. The Kryloth ships reached the planet. They landed in rural areas, away from the shields, away from the cities, for now. Dane watched in horror as the bioships opened. Millions of Kryloth drones poured out, insect-like creatures the size of dogs. They moved as one mind, one purpose: consume, grow, spread. The drones encountered a farming village. 3,000 people lived there. The drones swept through it in minutes. The screams lasted only seconds. They're consuming organic matter, reported the science officer. Plants, animals, people, everything. They convert it to biomass, grow more drones. Blast those landing sites from orbit, Dane ordered. Sir, there are still civilians nearby. We'd kill thousands. Better thousands than billions. Fire. Orbital cannons opened fire. Energy beams from space struck the Kryloth landing zones. The drones burned. The bioships melted. But 3 more ships landed while they were firing. Then 5 more. Then 10. In space, Captain Soman's reconnaissance ship watched from the outer system. She had orders not to engage, just observe, send data back to the main fleet. But she was watching a planet die. We have to do something, said pilot Gaiong. Her hands gripped the controls, ready to fight. Our orders are clear, Soman replied. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed pain. We observe only. Those are people down there, Boram said. Billions of them. Soman watched the tactical display. The Thalan fleet was down to 40 ships. 30, 20. The Kryloth swarm was overwhelming them. Forget the orders, she said suddenly. Gyeong, take us in. Ji-hai, prepare every weapon we have. Boram, target the largest Kryloth ships. Ma'am, we'll be destroyed, Ji-hai warned. Probably, Soman agreed. But we'll die fighting, like humans do. The reconnaissance ship accelerated toward the battle. It was small, fast, armed with experimental weapons that Earth had never tested in real combat. Targeting lead Kryloth dreadnought, Boram reported, firing kinetic penetrators. Solid tungsten rods launched from the ship. No explosives, no energy, just dense metal moving at incredible speed. The rods punched through the Kryloth bioship's armor, through its organs, through its core. The dreadnought died. It broke apart and drifted in pieces. It worked, Gyeong shouted. The kinetic weapons worked. Keep firing, Somin ordered. Kill as many as we can. They destroyed 3 more Kryloth ships, then 5. Then the swarm noticed them. 20 bioships turned and charged. Evasive maneuvers, Soman called. Ji-hai, prepare the thermite missiles. The experimental weapons launched. They were not designed for precision. They were designed to burn. The missiles exploded into clouds of superheated metal particles. The clouds engulfed the pursuing Kryloth ships. The bioships burned. Their organic hulls could not adapt fast enough to the chemical fire. They screamed. The sound came through radio frequencies, screams of pain from living vessels dying. Those things can feel pain, Gaiong said quietly. Good, Soman replied coldly. Maybe they'll think twice about eating planets. But more Kryloth ships were coming, too many to fight. The reconnaissance ships' shields were failing, hull breaches on 3 decks, life support compromised. Send everything we learned to the fleet, Soman ordered. Tell them kinetic weapons work. Tell them fireworks. Tell them... A Kryloth ship rammed them. Living bone and metal tore through their hull. The ship spun out of control. This is Captain Soman to any Earth vessel, she transmitted on emergency frequencies. Kinetic weapons effective against Kryloth. Use physical damage. Use fire. They're biological. Kill them like any other living thing. Good luck. Earth forever. The transmission ended. The reconnaissance ship exploded into silence. Commander Dane saw the explosion. A small human ship that should not have been there. Fighting when it should have been hiding. Dying to prove a point. Did you get that transmission? He asked his communications officer. Yes, sir. The human ship confirmed kinetic weapons are effective. Then switch all remaining ships to railguns and missiles, everything we have. The surviving Thalan ships changed tactics. Solid projectiles instead of energy beams. Physical missiles instead of plasma charges. The Kryloth died faster. But there were still too many. Fleetmaster Colvin's flagship was the last major vessel, surrounded, damaged, dying. This is Colvin to all Thalan forces, he transmitted. It has been an honor. Remember Velthara. Remember our sacrifice. And remember that humans died here too, fighting for a world not their own. We are not alone in this universe. His ship exploded. The last of the defense fleet was gone. Dayan stood alone on the command deck. Below him, Velthara Prime burned. Kryloth drones covered entire continents now. The shields were failing. The evacuation had saved 4 billion people. 4 billion remained. High Chancellor Vexmore's transmission came through. Commander Dane, you are ordered to evacuate immediately. The planet is lost. No, Dane replied. I will not abandon my people. That is not a request, Commander. That is an order. With respect, High Chancellor, I refuse. If you want to maintain your protocols while worlds die, that is your choice. But I will stay here, fighting, until the end. He cut the transmission. Yurin continued broadcasting from the surface. Her camera showed the reality that the Galactic Assembly refused to see, the drones flowing through streets, the shields failing section by section, the final moments of a civilization. If anyone is watching, she said into the camera, tell them we fought. Tell them we tried. Tell Earth that Captain Somin died saving strangers. Tell them... The transmission ended abruptly. Commander Dane knew what that meant. The drones had reached the city. Yurin was gone. Soon, everyone would be gone. He opened a forbidden communication channel, a direct line to Earth. He did not care about regulations anymore, did not care about protocols. This is Commander Dane of the Thalan Defense Force. I am sending this message to Earth, to humanity. We were wrong. We were fools. You offered to help and we refused. Now my world is dying. Please, if you can hear this, if you can do anything, help us. He sent the message and waited for death. Admiral Minho heard Commander Dane's message 3 hours after it was sent. The human fleet was still 2 days away from Velthara Prime at maximum speed. 2 days too late. Can we go faster? He asked his navigator. Not without burning out the engines, sir. We're already pushing beyond safety limits. Minho studied the tactical display. The Kryloth controlled the Velthara system. 200 bioships. Maybe more by now. His fleet had 122 ships. The numbers were bad. Send a message to all ship captains, he ordered. We're going into battle as soon as we arrive. No regrouping, no planning. We hit them immediately with everything we have. Sir, we should coordinate with the Thalan forces, his operations officer suggested. What Thalan forces? They're dead. It's just us now. The fleet jumped through faster than light space. Inside each ship, soldiers prepared. Engineers G-High's experimental weapons were loaded. Kinetic penetrators, thermite missiles, nuclear warheads, everything designed to kill biological targets. On the flagship, pilot Guyong sat in her fighter. She had survived Captain Soman's death by pure luck. She was on a maintenance shift when the reconnaissance ship was destroyed. Now she wanted revenge. This is for you, Captain, she whispered. I'll make them pay. Back at the Galactic Assembly on Vast Prime, Ambassador Jiwan received the news about Velthara Prime. The Thalan delegation was in chaos. High Chancellor Vexmore called for emergency session. The situation is dire, Vexmore announced. Velthara Prime is fallen. 8 billion Thalan are dead or consumed. We must pull back all remaining forces to core worlds. Pull back? Jiwan stood. You're going to abandon the outer colonies? We have no choice. Our fleets cannot stop the Kryloth. We must consolidate our defenses. You have a choice, Jiwan said firmly. Let Earth help. That matter was decided weeks ago, Vexmore replied coldly. The answer is still no. Then I have news for you. Jiwan walked to the center of the chamber. Earth's combined fleet departed 3 weeks ago. They're already in position. In fact, they should be arriving at Velthara Prime right about now. The chamber erupted, thousands of voices shouting, some in anger, some in hope, some in fear. That is a violation of the ban, Speaker Threx roared. That is an act of war. No, Jiwan corrected. It's an act of rescue. You forbade us from asking to help. You never said we could not just show up and help anyway. High Chancellor Vexmore's face darkened. Recall them immediately. Order them back to Earth space or face expulsion from the Coalition. I can't recall them, Jiwan said calmly. They're in communications blackout. They won't receive any messages until the battle is over. Then you have doomed them, Vexmore said. 100 ships cannot defeat 200 Kryloth vessels. Your fleet will be destroyed. Maybe, Jiwan agreed. But they'll die trying to save your people, which is more than your own ships did. Commander Dane watched the Kryloth drones spread across his world. The orbital station was the last defended position. 300 people remained with him. Everyone else was dead or evacuated. Sir, we're detecting faster-than-light signatures, reported the sensor officer. Multiple contacts, very large. More Kryloth? Dane asked tiredly. No, sir. The signatures are different. They're human ships. Dane looked at the display. He could not believe it. 122 vessels dropping out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the system. Human vessels. The fleet Earth had been forbidden to send. Open a channel, he ordered. This is Admiral Minho of the Earth Combined Fleet to Commander Dane. We got your message. Sorry we're late. We're here to help now. Dane felt something he had not felt in days. Hope. Admiral Minho, the system is lost. There are over 200 Kryloth ships here. You should retreat while you can. Retreat? Minho laughed. We came all this way just to retreat? Not happening. Commander, now sit back and watch humans work. The Earth fleet accelerated into the system. The Kryloth swarm detected them immediately. 100 bioships turned to face the new threat. All ships, attack formation Delta, Minho ordered. Fighter squadrons deploy. Capital ships target the largest vessels. Use kinetic weapons only. Save the special ordnance for when we're in close. The human fleet spread out. Not a tight defensive formation like the Coalition used. A loose aggressive pattern, like wolves hunting. The Kryloth charged. Living ships that had consumed 14 worlds. Ships that had never been defeated. Ships that adapted to any weapon. The human ships fired, but not energy beams. Solid metal projectiles launched from railguns. Tungsten rods moving at a significant fraction of light speed. The rods punched through Kryloth bio-armor like it was paper. 3 Kryloth ships died in the first salvo, then 5 more, then 10. They're working, someone shouted on the command deck. Of course they're working, Minho replied. These things are living creatures. You don't kill biology with lasers, you kill it with rocks. Pilot Gyeong led her fighter squadron into the swarm. 40 fighters against thousands of Kryloth drones. The small bioships tried to surround them, but human fighters were faster, more maneuverable. Break and attack, Gyeong ordered. Use the debris as weapons. The fighters grabbed pieces of destroyed Kryloth ships with magnetic grapples. They swung the debris like clubs, ramming chunks of dead bioship into living ones. It was primitive, brutal, effective. The Kryloth had never encountered tactics like this. They adapted to weapons, they healed damage, but they could not adapt to pure violence. Engineer Jihai watched from her station on the flagship. Her experimental weapons were performing better than predicted, but she had one more surprise. Admiral, requesting permission to deploy biophage missiles. What are those? Minho asked. Biological warfare, Jihai explained. I designed a virus that attacks the Kryloth neural connections. It breaks the hive mind. If it works, they'll lose coordination. If it works, you mean you haven't tested it? I tested it on dead tissue, but we never had a live sample to test on. Minho considered for exactly 3 seconds. Deploy it. What's the worst that could happen? It could mutate and kill us all, Jihai said cheerfully. But probably not. The biophage missiles launched. They were not explosive. They were designed to break apart and spread. Like pollen in the wind, The virus particles drifted through space, touched Kryloth ships, infected them. At first, nothing happened. Then one Kryloth ship stopped moving, then 3 more, then dozens. "It's working!" Jihai shouted. "The virus is disrupting their neural network. They're losing cohesion." The Kryloth swarm fractured. Ships that had moved as one mind now moved independently. They crashed into each other, made mistakes, became vulnerable. "All ships concentrate fire," Minho ordered. "Hit them while they're confused." The human fleet pressed the attack. Kinetic weapons tore through bioships. Thermite missiles set them on fire. Nuclear warheads cracked them open like eggs. Commander Dane watched from the orbital station. The impossible was happening. The humans were winning, not just surviving, actually winning. "Admiral Minho, there are still Kryloth on the planet's surface," he reported. "Millions of drones consuming the cities." "We see them," Minho replied. "Jihai, can your virus work on the drones?" "Theoretically, but we'd need to carpet bomb the entire planet with it." "Then let's carpet bomb the entire planet. Launch every biophage missile we have." Hundreds of missiles descended into Velthara Prime's atmosphere. They broke apart at high altitude. The virus spread through the air, touched the drones, infected them. The drones stopped, all at once. Billions of Kryloth creatures standing still, their connection to the hive mind severed. They were just animals now, lost, confused. "Ground forces. You're clear to engage the drones," Minho transmitted. "They're not coordinated anymore, they're just targets." The remaining Thalan ground forces emerged from shelters. They killed the drones. It was not battle anymore, it was extermination. In space, the last Kryloth ships tried to retreat, but Pilot Gyeong's squadron blocked their escape. "No running," she said coldly. "You came here to consume. Now it's your turn to be consumed." Her fighters ripped the fleeing ships apart. 3 hours after the battle began, it was over. 200 Kryloth ships destroyed. The swarm broken. Velthara Prime saved. 4 billion Thalan had died, but 4 billion more survived because Earth came when they were told not to. Commander Dane's transmission was broadcast across the entire coalition. "This is Commander Dane to all coalition forces. The Kryloth have been defeated at Velthara Prime. The humans saved us. Earth saved us. They came when we needed them most, when we had forbidden them from helping. They came anyway." At the Galactic Assembly, Ambassador Ji-won played the transmission. She played Yurin's final broadcast. She played Captain Soman's last message. She showed them everything. "You forbade us from helping," Ji-won said to the silent chamber. "You told us we were too young, too violent, too dangerous. You were right about one thing. We are dangerous, but only to your enemies. We don't ask permission to do the right thing. We just do it." High Chancellor Vexmore stood. His silver face showed no emotion, but his voice was different now, quieter, almost humble. "Ambassador Ji-won, on behalf of the Galactic Coalition, He paused. The proud leader struggled with unfamiliar words. "We were wrong. Earth is not too young to help. You are exactly what this fight needs." The chamber remained silent. Then one delegate stood, then another, then hundreds. They did not applaud. They simply stood, a gesture of respect. "We're not asking for your permission," Ji-won said. "We're already there." 6 weeks after the Battle of Velthara Prime, Admiral Minho stood before the Galactic Assembly. His uniform was clean but showed wear. His face showed exhaustion. He had been fighting for 6 weeks without rest. "The Coalition demands an explanation," High Chancellor Vexmore said. "You violated direct orders. You entered a war zone without authorization. You deployed weapons that had never been tested. By all protocols, you should face court-martial." "By all protocols, Velthara Prime should be a dead world," Minho replied. "But it's not, because we ignored your protocols." The chamber buzzed with conversation. Some delegates angry, others thoughtful. The mood had shifted since Velthara Prime. Earth could not be dismissed anymore. Commander Dane stepped forward. He wore his full military uniform. Medals covered his chest. Each one earned fighting the Kryloth. "High Chancellor, if I may speak." Vexmore nodded reluctantly. "I was there when Velthara died," Dain began. "I watched our fleet destroyed. I watched 8 billion people consumed. I sent a desperate message to Earth knowing it was forbidden, knowing I would face punishment. I did not expect them to come. We had refused their help, insulted them, banned them from our fight, but they came anyway." He turned to face the entire assembly. "The humans saved 4 billion Thalan lives. They deployed experimental weapons that could have killed them all. They fought 200 Kryloth ships with only 122 vessels. They won. Not because they had superior technology, not because they had more ships. They won because they refused to give up, because humans do not accept defeat. They also violated every regulation we have," Speaker Threx argued. "They used biological weapons. They risked spreading a virus that could have mutated. They endangered the entire sector." "And they saved an entire world," Dane countered. "Sometimes, following regulations means everyone dies. Admiral Minho and his fleet understood that. They made the hard choice, the right choice." Dr. Hunwu stood in the upper gallery. He had been waiting for this moment. "High Chancellor, I must confess something." "Dr. Hyunwoo, this is not the time," Vexmore said impatiently. "It is exactly the time. I violated information protocols. I sent classified data to Earth, battle reports, star maps, everything they needed to understand the Kryloth threat. If anyone should face punishment, it is me. I am the one who told Earth about the war." The chamber erupted again. Calls for his arrest, demands for his execution, but also voices defending him. Ambassador Jiwan watched the chaos. She had prepared for this moment, had prepared a speech about Earth's rights, about sovereignty, about doing what was necessary. But the speech felt wrong now. "High Chancellor," she said quietly. Somehow her voice cut through the noise. "Earth does not apologize for saving lives. We do not apologize for winning. We do not apologize for doing what you could not. If that makes us criminals in your eyes, then we are criminals. But we are criminals who saved 4 billion people." President Taeyang appeared on the main view screen. He was transmitting from Earth. "The Galactic Assembly can debate all it wants. You can pass resolutions, issue bans, threaten sanctions, but understand this clearly. Earth will help those who need it, with your permission or without it. You can work with us or you can work around us. Your choice." "That sounds like a threat," Vexmore said coldly. "It's a promise," Taeyang replied. "We're not asking to join your war. We're telling you we're already in it." Pilot Guyong sat in the gallery with other human military personnel. She wore her flight suit. It still had scorch marks from the battle. She had not bothered to clean it. She wanted these aliens to see what fighting looked like. "They're going to punish us," she whispered to the soldier next to her. "They're going to make examples of us for not following their stupid rules." "Let them try," the soldier replied. "We saved their people. History will remember that, not their regulations." High Chancellor Vexmore called for order. The chamber slowly quieted. "The coalition must make a decision. Earth has proven its military capability, but they have also proven they will not follow our command structure. They are too independent, too unpredictable." "Good," said a new voice. Ambassador Pelton of the Vorqui stepped forward. His species had lost 2 colonies to the Kryloth. "We need unpredictable. Our predictable tactics failed. Our conventional thinking failed. Earth brought new ideas, new weapons, new hope. I propose we do not punish them. I propose we ask them to lead." "Lead?" Vexmore sounded shocked. "They have been in space for 50 years. They know nothing of galactic warfare. They know enough to win, Pelton replied, which is more than we can say. A vote was called. Should Earth face punishment, or should Earth be given command authority in the war against the Kryloth? The voting took 3 hours. Delegates argued. Coalitions formed and broke. Old alliances were tested. Finally, the results came in. 412 in favor of Earth, 435 against, abstentions from the rest. The vote fails, Vexmore announced. Earth will not be given command authority. However, the coalition also recognizes that punishment is inappropriate given the circumstances. Earth is free to continue operations but must coordinate with coalition forces. It was a compromise. Nobody was happy, but it was better than war. Admiral Minho smiled slightly. High Chancellor, with respect, we will continue operations whether you coordinate with us or not. But we would prefer to work together. Fewer people die that way. Is that another threat, Admiral? It's an observation. You've been fighting the Kryloth for 6 months and lost 14 worlds. We've been fighting for 6 weeks and won 1 world back. Our methods work. You can benefit from them, or you can watch from the sidelines. Commander Dane approached Minho. Admiral, the Thalan Defense Force would be honored to serve alongside your fleet, if you will have us. We would be honored to have you, Minho replied. We could use soldiers who understand what's at stake. Over the next few days, other species approached Earth. The Vorki, the Essing, smaller civilizations that had suffered under Kryloth attacks. They wanted to learn human tactics. They wanted access to human weapons. Engineer Jihai found herself teaching alien scientists about kinetic weapons and biological warfare. It's not complicated, she explained to a group of Vorki engineers. The Kryloth are living creatures. You fight living creatures with physics and chemistry, not energy beams. But our energy weapons are more advanced, one Vorki protested. Advanced does not mean effective, Jihai replied. A rock thrown hard enough will kill you just as dead as a laser. Sometimes simpler is better. The humans began sharing their technology. Not everything, but enough to help. Railgun designs, kinetic missile systems, bioweapon synthesis protocols. Some coalition species refused the help. They considered human methods too barbaric, too primitive. They continued using energy weapons. They continued losing. Admiral Minho and Commander Dane planned their next operation. Intelligence suggested the Kryloth were gathering forces near the Keltor Nebula, a massive swarm preparing for another offensive. We should strike first, Dane suggested. Hit them before they're ready. Agreed, Minho said. But we need more ships. How many coalition vessels can you bring? 50 Thalan ships, 20 Vorki, maybe 15 from other species, about 85 total. Combined with our 122, that gives us over 200 ships. Should be enough. Should be? We're fighting a hive mind that consumes planets, Minho shrugged. Nothing is guaranteed, but we've got better odds than you had at Velthara. The joint fleet assembled over the next 2 weeks. It was the first true cooperation between Earth and the Coalition. Human and alien crews trained together, shared tactics, learned from each other. Not everyone was happy. Some Thalan officers resented taking orders from humans. Some human soldiers did not trust the aliens, but they learned to work together, because the alternative was death. Pilot Gyong found herself training Thalan pilots. Your ships are too slow, she explained. You fly in formations, predictable patterns. The Kryloth learn those patterns. What do you suggest? Asked a young Thalan pilot. Chaos, Gyong grinned. Fly unpredictably. Break formation. Attack from unexpected angles. Make them guess what you'll do next. That sounds dangerous. It is dangerous. But it works. And working is better than dying. Ambassador Ji-Won returned to Earth for the first time in 8 months. She wanted to see home, smell real air, walk under a real sky. President Taiyang met her at the spaceport. You did well up there. I barely did anything, Jiwon replied. Admiral Minho and his fleet did all the work. You gave them the political cover to do that work, Taeyang said. You made Earth's position clear. That matters. They walked through the gardens near the presidential residence. Real trees, real grass, real birds. After months in artificial environments, it felt like paradise. What happens now? Jiwon asked. Now we finish what we started, Taeyang replied. We push the Kryloth back. We save as many worlds as we can. We show the galaxy that humanity belongs here. And if the coalition tries to stop us, they won't. Not anymore. We proved we're necessary. We're not guests at the table anymore. We're the ones setting the table. Back at Velthara Prime, memorials were being built. 4 billion dead. Their names carved in stone. Among the names were the human casualties. Captain Somin, her crew, the soldiers who died in the first engagement. Commander Dane attended the memorial dedication. He placed flowers at Captain Somin's name, human flowers, roses from Earth. She did not have to fight, he said to no one. She had orders to observe only, but she fought anyway, died saving people she had never met, from a world she had never visited. That is courage. That is honor. A young Thalan child approached him. She held a picture she had drawn. It showed a human ship fighting Kryloth vessels. My parents died, the child said quietly. The Kryloth took them, but the humans saved me. Why did they help us? Dain knelt down to her level. Because that is what humans do. They help. Even when told not to. Even when it costs them everything. Remember that. When you grow up, remember that Earth came when no one else would. The joint fleet departed for the Keltor Nebula 1 week later. Admiral Minho stood on his flagship's bridge. Commander Dane stood beside him. Human and Thalan. Former enemies, now allies. Ready? Minho asked. Ready, Dane confirmed. Then let's go hunting. Time to show the Kryloth what happens when humans get angry. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. 207 ships, human and alien crews working together, fighting together, winning together. The Kryloth had consumed 14 worlds. Now Earth and its allies would take back those worlds. One battle at a time, one world at a time. Because humanity had learned something important. The galaxy did not need permission to be saved. It needed people willing to save it. And humans were very willing. High Chancellor Vexmore watched the fleet depart from his office on Vast Prime. He had ruled for 30 years. He had always followed protocol, always maintained order, always done things the proper way, and it had nearly cost them everything. Perhaps, he said quietly to himself, the proper way is not always the right way. Perhaps we needed someone to show us that. Even if they are young, even if they are reckless, even if they are human. He pulled up Ambassador Jiwon's speech on his terminal, watched it again. We don't ask permission to do the right thing. We just do it. Maybe, Vexmore whispered. We should all be more like that. The galaxy was changing. The old rules were fading. New alliances were forming, and at the center of it all was Earth. Young, violent, unpredictable, necessary. They had been forbidden from helping, but they came anyway, and the galaxy would never be the same.